Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into something huge, a really significant moment in hip-hop culture that just happened. The prison release of Harlem's own Max B, Charlie Wingate, on November 9th. After 16 years, 16 years. And this deep dive, it's got some pretty high stakes. We're looking at why Max B walking free isn't just, his personal story. It feels like a major moment for the music industry, for the whole wavy sound he basically created, and maybe most critically, for understanding some deep problems in the justice system that kept him locked up so long.
That's exactly right. Max B's return really forces us to look at where creativity, prison, and maybe redemption all collide. We're not just talking about his next album. We really have to go back and look at the legal side, the cultural impact of his absence, and yeah, that original sentence, it was shocking.
Okay, let's start right there then.
Yeah.
75 years. I mean, that number just, it's staggering, especially for someone accused of orchestrating, not actually committing the violence. What exactly landed him with such an astronomical sentence initially?
Well, it's a bit complex legally, but the core of it is this. Back in 2006, there was a robbery at a Holiday Inn in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Tragically, someone, David Taylor Jr., was killed during that robbery. Max B was implicated as the alleged mastermind behind it.
Okay, the mastermind. But the key detail, right, is that he wasn't actually there.
Exactly, that's critical. He was not physically present when the robbery and the shooting happened, but he was convicted back in 2009 under New Jersey's felony murder rule.
Felony murder. Right, so even if you weren't the trigger man, if you're involved in the underlying felony where someone dies, you can still get charged with murder.
Precisely. And they argued he was the one who orchestrated the whole thing, so that's how we ended up with the murder conviction.
And that sentence, 75 years. I mean, the guideline minimum was 20, right? So this is 55 years over the minimum.
Yeah, and that disparity, that's where you start seeing the really troubling aspects. It raises huge red flags. Look at the other sentences. Max B gets 75 years for, let's call it, planning. His stepbrother, Kevin Leardem, who is the actual shooter, he got life plus 35 years.
Okay, so more time, obviously, but
Yep.
wow, not that much more considering one planned and one pulled the trigger.
Right. It feels disproportionate. And then Gina Conway, his ex-girlfriend, a key witness against him, she got 15 years. The whole sentencing structure just felt inconsistent. It makes you question how those felony murder and accomplice liability laws were being applied. Was it about justice or just maximum pressure?
It's sobering. It really makes you wonder about proportionality, about the actual purpose of such a long sentence for someone not physically involved in the violence. It feels less like justice and more punitive.
Exactly. What penological purpose did 75 years serve in his specific case? It's a question that hung over this whole thing for years.
So eventually, the legal system did kind of circle back on itself. That conviction from 2009, it was vacated in 2016. What happened there? How did 75 become 20?
Yeah, it came down to his lawyer, his original defense lawyer, John LaTorraca. The argument was that LaTorraca had a pretty serious conflict of interest.
How so?
Well, he was acting as both Max B's manager and his entertainment lawyer. The defense argued this created an incentive for the lawyer to push for a trial, maybe for the publicity or a bigger potential payout down the line, instead of properly advising Max B about a plea deal that might have been on the table earlier.
Ah, okay, so that conflict directly impacted his defense strategy.
That was a successful argument. And because that conviction was vacated, it opened the door for a new deal. He ended up pleading guilty to aggravated manslaughter.
And that brought the sentence down to 20 years, which finally set that November 9th, 2025 release date. So the legal system eventually corrected course somewhat.
Right. The legal debt was partially settled, you could say. But while all that was slowly grinding through the courts, Max B's cultural influence, his cultural debt owed to him, was just exploding. It's fascinating, really. His absence almost became part of his mystique.
Oh, totally. The whole Free Max B movement. It wasn't just fans wanting music. It became this symbol, like you said, of someone wronged by the system for a whole generation.
Yeah, and his sound, he basically invented that wavy style, the melodic, kind of free-flowing rap. The Coke Wave tapes with French Montana were seminal.
He literally coined the term wavy. It's part of the everyday lexicon now because of him.
And he didn't just disappear musically. He kept putting out projects from inside. Vigilante Season, Bigavelli. It was like he was reminding everyone, I'm still here. The sound is still mine.
And connecting that to the bigger picture. Man, he really is the blueprint, maybe the uncredited ghost in so much modern melodic rap.
You really can't talk about the last, 10, 15 years of rap sounds without him. You mentioned Drake earlier. Drake explicitly referenced him in Money in the Grave. Young Thug's entire melodic approach feels heavily influenced by Max B's style.
Absolutely. And Wiz Khalifa, he flat out said Max B inspired him to start singing on his hooks. AP Rocky's aesthetic, even like the SoundCloud emo rap wave with artists like Lil Peep.
Yeah.
You can trace stylistic threads back to Max.
It's profound, really. He helped shape the sound of an entire era, cloud rap, melodic trap, the streaming boom, and he missed all of it. He was behind bars while the sound he pioneered took over the world.
That idea of lost time, what could have been, it just hangs heavy.
Which brings us to right now, his second act. The release itself, walking out of Northern State Prison on November 9th, felt very deliberate, very symbolic.
Oh, it was perfectly staged for maximum cultural impact. French Montana, his biggest champion all these years, was right there to greet him. And it was French's birthday. That detail felt almost, poetic, like you said, destiny or something. French posts that picture, no more free you. And Max B steps out, dripped in Louis Vuitton.
Head to toe. It was a clear visual message. I'm back, and I'm still that guy. A statement of status, of intent.
Professionally, things moved fast. Reports said they were in the studio literally hours later working on Coke Wave 3. The fans online were going nuts, right? The wave is back.
Yeah, the online reaction was immediate and huge. And his first few appearances, they seemed very calculated too. He's at a Jets game, catches up with Method Man from Wu-Tang. He visits a high-end jeweler, Avian & Co.
Keeping it cool, though. His public statement was simple, right? Just grateful, feeling good.
Exactly. Just, I'm feeling righteous, feeling good, I'm grateful, God is good, projecting calm, confidence, ready.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The actual comeback plan. He didn't announce a massive stadium tour. Instead, it's a 7-day club tour starting right away on release day in New York City. What does that tell you?
I think it's smart, it's methodical, this club venue strategy, it suggests he's easing back in, testing the waters, reconnecting with the core fans directly, rather than trying to immediately fill arenas after 16 years away.
Yeah.
It feels less risky, more controlled.
But the challenge is still huge.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. He's 47 now.
Right.
He's stepping back into a music world that's completely transformed. Streaming is everything. TikTok dictates hits. You've got drill, hyperpop, genres that didn't even exist when he went in.
That's the massive question, isn't it? His influence is undeniable. That's history. But does that foundational legacy translate into actual streams, ticket sales, relevance in today's market? That's the test.
He sounds confident, though. There was that quote from Prison where he basically said, bring it on.
Oh, yeah. He said, I can't wait to get reacclimated. You already know I'm a musical genius myself. It's a challenge. I love a good challenge. I'm the trendsetter. He sees it as a competition. He has to prove the original wave is still the best wave.
Right. He has to compete with the very artists he inspired.
Exactly. But before he can even fully dive into that musical battle, there's some serious, let's call it unfinished business. The elephant in the room.
You mean the Jim Jones beef? That's been simmering for, since 2008? Over money, publishing rights, Max sold to Jones for bail. It's old, but it's messy.
It's definitely a narrative hurdle, and they seem to be in different places with it. Max B, in an interview back in July, sounded like he wanted to move on. He said something like, I want to start over. I'm a new man. I'm a married man. I got 4 kids. He's signaling he's past it.
But Jim Jones,
yeah,
not so much. Just before the release, he was on a podcast basically saying, yeah, maybe I forgive, but I don't forget, and I'm not here to make anyone comfortable.
Right. Jones sounded way more guarded, maybe even still adversarial. It signals he's not just going to smooth things over because Max is out and it makes for a good story.
And then other people jump in. 50 Cent, who has his own beef with Jones, starts posting memes using Max's release against Jim.
Exactly. It gets weaponized instantly. And there were reports, that a lot of the online chatter pushing the feud seemed inorganic. Like maybe bots or coordinated efforts were trying to stir it up.
So is the beef even real anymore, or just industry drama being amplified by outside forces, maybe even fans?
That's a really good question. Is it relevant history or just manufactured hype now? But honestly, that whole feud might be secondary to the biggest practical hurdle Max faces right now.
Which is?
The terms of his release. The legal fine print. He's not completely free. He's under 5 years of supervised release. New York State supervision.
Okay, supervised release.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean day to day for someone trying to restart a global music career?
It's huge, absolutely critical, and it creates major structural barriers. Supervised release isn't just checking in once in a while, it's restrictive. Mandatory conditions apply.
Like drug testing, reporting regularly to an officer, needing to have a job or be in school, stuff like that.
All of that, yes. But the really tough one for a rapper planning a comeback is travel. Touring requires constant movement, often across state lines, sometimes international. Under supervised release, you generally need permission from your supervising officer for every trip outside your approved zone.
Wow. So that club tour, even just hitting East Coast cities, probably required specific approval for each stop. Forget a spontaneous European tour anytime soon.
Pretty much. His ability to travel and perform to really capitalize on his name globally is significantly hampered unless he gets ongoing legal okay for everything. It puts a major constraint on how we can operate.
So in a weird way, his biggest obstacle isn't Jim Jones or even the new music trends. It's the conditions of his own release. It's the system itself still.
You could definitely see it that way. Any slip up, a missed meeting, a failed test, unapproved travel could mean violating his conditions. And that means potentially going right back to prison.
That's a heavy reality hanging over everything. It shapes the whole comeback narrative, doesn't it? The rap stardom lifestyle, spontaneous trips, late nights, certain environments that clashes hard with supervised release rules.
It absolutely does. His legal obligations are going to set the tempo for this second act, at least initially, maybe even more than his musical choices will. So, wrapping this up, Max B's whole saga, it really is a powerful lens on, well, mass incarceration, especially those felony murder laws, and how accomplice liability gets applied. I mean, the fact that his sentence went from 75 years down to 20, it just forces you to ask, what was the point of that original sentence? Was it truly just?
Right. So for you listening, what does this all mean? Max B's freedom, it's more than just a celebration. It's maybe a chance for hip-hop culture, and maybe all of us, to really look at the system that produced that conviction in the first place.
Yeah.
To talk about the injustice, not just the survival story.
Because he lost 16 years. 16 years of making music, earning a living, being part of the culture he helped build. He literally created a sound he never got to properly benefit from during its peak. And the big question now, the one we're left with, is whether that incredible influence he holds can actually translate into success today. Or is the cost of those 16 years, that lost time, that lost opportunity, just too immense? Is it something that even the biggest comeback can't truly make up for? That's what we'll be watching. The Wave God is back, but the tide he's returning to is very, very different.